The three sisters sat inside a black luxury car parked across the street, watching the small soup kitchen with sharp, conflicted eyes. Silk coats, diamond rings, and polished shoes marked them as women who had never known hunger. But today, they wore rags over their clothes and dirt on their faces. Not for survival. For truth. Years ago, they had lost their younger brother, Daniel. After their parents died, money tore the family apart. Legal battles, accusations, and greed poisoned every conversation. Daniel, the youngest, had walked away with nothing, refusing to fight. He vanished without a forwarding address, leaving behind a note that said only, "I don't want to lose my soul fighting for money." Now, after a private investigator finally found him, the sisters wanted to know one thing before revealing themselves. Was he still the same man? Or had poverty changed him? They stepped out of the car, pulling scarves lower over their faces, and joined the line outside the soup kitchen. The smell of thin broth and old bread hung in the air. People shuffled slowly, some coughing, some staring into nothing. This wasn't a place their world ever touched. Then they saw him. Daniel stood near the entrance, thinner than they remembered. Hair flecked with grey, though he was only in his 40s. His jacket was worn at the elbows. His shoes had holes taped over with black tape. He held a small paper cup in one hand and a folded dollar bill in the other. $1. The eldest sister whispered, disbelief tightening her chest. He watched as an elderly man ahead of him was told the kitchen had run out of food. The man nodded quietly, embarrassment burning in his eyes, and stepped aside. Daniel didn't hesitate. He tapped the man's shoulder and pressed the folded bill into his palm. "There's a diner 2 blocks down," he said gently. "It's not much, but it'll get you something warm." The man protested. "But what about you?" Daniel smiled, tired but sincere. "I already ate." That was a lie. The sisters knew it instinctively. The middle sister felt something twist painfully in her chest. "That was his last dollar," she said. "The investigator told us. He lives day to day." Still, they had to finish the test. They approached him together, hunched over, coughing softly. "Sir," the youngest sister croaked, disguising her voice. "We haven't eaten all day. Could you help us?" Daniel looked at them, concern replacing his exhaustion. He glanced down at his empty hands, then into his jacket pocket. He pulled out a few coins, barely enough for a bus ride. He hesitated. The sisters watched closely, hearts pounding. Then he placed the coins into the youngest sister's trembling hand. "It's not much," he said quietly, ashamed. "But please, take it." The eldest sister's eyes filled with tears. This was already more than enough. But then came the twist, one they hadn't planned for. Daniel suddenly frowned, studying their faces. "You're cold," he said. Without waiting, he shrugged off his jacket and wrapped it around the middle sister's shoulders. "Keep it. Nights are bad this time of year." "But you'll freeze," she whispered, her voice breaking for real now. He smiled softly. "I've been colder." That was it. The sisters could take no more. The eldest sister straightened up, pulled off a scarf, and said his name. "Daniel." He froze. Slowly, he looked up. Confusion turned to shock, then disbelief. "No," he whispered. "I'm imagining this." The youngest sister stepped forward, tears streaming down her face. "It's us." Daniel staggered back, eyes darting between them. "This isn't funny," he said hoarsely. "If this is a joke." The middle sister reached into her bag and pulled out an old photograph. 4 children sitting on a staircase, arms wrapped around each other. His knees buckled. They caught him before he fell. "I thought you forgot me," he choked. "I thought I wasn't worth finding." The eldest sister shook her head, crying openly now. "We were wrong. About everything." Right there on the cracked sidewalk, the wealthy sisters knelt, holding the brother who had nothing, and had given everything. Later, inside the warm car, Daniel sat silently, overwhelmed. They offered him a home, money, a share of the fortune. He listened, then asked one question. "What about the people back there?" He said, nodding toward the soup kitchen. "The ones who won't get a second chance like this." The sisters looked at each other. That night, they made a decision that changed all their lives. They didn't just take their brother home. They built shelters, funded kitchens, created programs in Daniel's name, but at his insistence, without his face on a single wall. Because the man who gave away his last dollar didn't want to be rich. He wanted no one else to feel poor in spirit again. And that was the twist they never expected.